QXE versus Polt. And, you know, QXE is also really good at parkour.
Yes.
Like, he could... Like, I think if QXE was a unit in the game, he'd be a stinking Reaper, man. Like, he could hop any wall and traverse any lake. Although I know Reapers can't trek water just yet, but wait till Legacy of the Void comes out. Then Reapers can go across lakes.
Ferdinand, what would you be?
And Reapers can burrow, too.
If you were a StarCraft unit, what would you be?
I don't know, man. What's my special talent? What do you consider my special talent? Because that would define what kind of unit I'd be.
Hint.
Oh my, I'd be Jim Raynor then.
Oh, nice choice.
Hmm.
I think I would be a ghost. Rotterdam would be like a Dark Templar. Bitter would be a queen off.
Rotterdam would be a Void Ray. Come on. Man.
Oh yeah, of course. But
especially because Rotterdam, the way he talks, like if you don't stop him, he'll just keep going and going. Same thing with Void Rays.
Oh man.
As soon as they get charged with all their stories, they
bro.
just keep going, and the beam gets stronger and stronger.
But yeah, Bitter would definitely be a queen off creep. 100%.
Oh man, I was thinking like, because for those of you who don't know, yesterday Mr. Bitter and Greetorp had a foot race, and at the end of it, not only did Greetorp completely burn Bitter out of the entire parking lot, Mr. Bitter had blisters on his toes afterwards, and he was complaining about it. And
well, he was mentally broken as well.
He was just so defeated.
I've never met someone that is just like so catastrophically devastated after a foot race.
Oh man, it was so great, and he was like so salty, and
yeah.
Oh gosh, we should rename blistering sands to bitter sands. Also, Mr. Bitter Sands. Guys, let's introduce our players. Finally, we're here to talk about the game. Also, the players. QXE, our purple Terran. Here on Team Complexity, he is opening up pretty standard here, going one base tech on Shakuras. Not to be outdone, though. Polt opening up the same exact way. We haven't been missing much. In fact, both players mirroring down to the exact same thing, other than the fact that Polt is getting his second gas just now.
The second gas normally says that he's going for some sort of cloak on his Banshees. Obviously, it puts him on one base a lot longer. I shouldn't say it always gives him cloak, but when you go for this super fast refinery, the normal thing is, well, what's going to give you that bonus? What is going to actually get you those kills to enable you to even the SCV count up so you're not just incurring a loss? And that answer is normally Banshees. And there you have it. The first tech lab, not the first tech lab, the first starport is being put down by our hero Polt, and it looks like QXE will follow directly after that. He is getting your reactor, though, before he puts down that starport. That's why there is a difference in that starport timing.
Yeah, and the way QXE can set up is like a Marine Hellion medevac push, or just, you know, light harassed here and there. And it's usually choosing to punish different kind of Marine openings, but Polt is actually going for tech as well now. He's getting his tech lab, and I like the position of his building. It's very intelligent, trying to optimize the amount of flight time, really, and just put it on the side, also to potentially avoid scans. And Polt playing very good. Both players, I like their openings, very solid from both sides.
Yeah. And I actually think it favors QXE, if anything. QXE has a build that actually defends against Cloak Banshees pretty efficiently. All he has to do is get a Raven out of here, and normally when you're going Marine Hellion, well, you have an excess of all this gas. You don't have to use it. The big problem is he hasn't gone for the engineering bay just yet. Normally it is around 6 minutes that you'll go for that, but it looks like, I don't know what he's doing just yet. He is preparing for an expansion. Okay, I don't mind that.
And he is getting Viking out just to be very safe.
That's
and
really
that's smart. Really smart play, especially because QXE popped up and saw the factory, and he didn't see any other units. And that's a really intelligent tell there. And oh, the Banshee flying straight over the units. Cloak is not prepared. Polt immediately having to run backwards. And so Polt's his plan has been revealed, although technically QXE doesn't know if it's going to be Cloak or not. But based off the units he hasn't seen, though, I feel like maybe he should prepare for it at the very slightest.
I don't think he's expecting his opponent to have Cloak. He's saying, wow, you got this. Oop, sorry about that. You got this Banshee out super fast. Normally, it isn't Cloak.
Oh, it's going to be very tight.
Oh my God, Cloak isn't going to finish. And he's going to get the Banshee!
Wow.
That's a big pick off, Rodan. Not only does he kill the Banshee, that's a lot of SEVs that he's saved right there. And he's been able to get his expansion up, not harass at all. An engineering base should go down immediately, and he should be able to defend against any sort of pressure coming out here. A second Banshee is a super huge tell. When I have already shown you Vikings and you're coming out here with a Banshee, I can be assured that you do have Cloak. If you don't have Cloak, it's just the worst possible situation. So get that engineering bay and defend against this accordingly, QXC.
QXC loading up a medevac.
Oh no,
He's not going to heat it. He's going to try to see if he can go. But the scan from QXC is enough to pick off the Banshee. It might get one more volley for the Viking, and we'll be able to get the last one. It does not, so Polt lives for now, but he realizes that one quick volley, and that is it. And for now, he's just going to whittle down the Marine numbers. Ooh. Another scan being used,
My
but
God. 2
scans for 2 Banshees is not the worst trade in the world.
And it looks like another Banshee is out here. These Banshees have not been effective. You can see the Harvester count isn't that different, but you're going to see the income for QXC skyrocket pretty soon when he has his double mule capacity.
And his Raven's almost done as well. So QXC will have that mobile form detection. And of course, the Raven has lots of utility. More Terrans are incorporating into their early mid-game as well. But Polt's pushing out here. At the same time, there's a medevac with Marine, so QXC has an option to really pressure Polt back at home. But this could be, this is so curious. What's going to happen here, Andre?
I think QXC needs to evacuate his natural, not even defend here. The drop is going to initiate over here in the main base of Polt. And in the meantime, that one Banshee goes to town on all these units. Oh no! QXC is caught out of position. The siege tank doesn't get up in time, and he might lose all of these units. Marines coming down here. The auto turret is placed. Is it going to be enough, Frodan? I don't think so.
It's going to be really close. The Banshee survives, and the big thing is that QXC, despite him having a lot of economic advantage, haven't had the time to really take advantage of that. And QXC, he's getting backed up into here. Now, he did pick off a lot of Polt's follow-up economy. You could see that there's nothing really mining back at his base, but for now, he has to worry about this push here. Polt not paying attention to his Banshee, which could have cloaked, but the Viking also dropped as well, so a little bit of sloppy control from both players, but Polt is the one who seems to have a very strong position now in the production lines of QXC, and oh no, QXC has such a good opportunity to really take this, but it's slipping out of his hands, and you can tell QXC not happy right now with the way he's playing because he had an opportunity to really do such amount of damage while being safe at home and not able to really defend that well.
And he needs to pull his SCVs. There it is right now. This one siege tank is under fire. The one Banshee is just trying to pick it off before the tank does any damage. But there it is, just turns around with other siege tanks. And let me tell you, SCVs, they do sort of well against siege tanks, but they will be able to kill enough. Let's go ahead and check the results. 14 kills to 7 in favor of Polt. Income tab showing 30 to 29. Now, there are 2 command centers out for both these players. The Marines were cleaned up. And I think Polt is ahead here.
Yeah, because QXC lost a lot of production capability. And
that's exactly right.
And he lost a lot of really expensive things like Ravens and at the same time, Polt did too. I feel like his Banshee control wasn't perfect. There was times he could have really kited. There was times he could have cloaked his Banshee as well. And you know, even what's big about having that cloak Banshee, even if it was cloaked, is that every scan that is burned on those Banshees means that his recovery is even harder for QXC. Yeah. So just having that utility is very big. But Polt is not done with his aggression just yet. He's pushing out here across the middle of the map, and this time Polt has siege mode when QXC doesn't.
And siege mode is such an important thing to note. I'm glad that you actually recognize that, because normally when you're dealing with siege mode, you have something like stim, combat shields, something a little bit to actually make your Marines a little bit more relevant. QXC doesn't have any of that, and that's a big problem. Ooh, wow.
Oh, very nice. Another Raven coming in just in time. But yeah, QXC doesn't have any real upgrades. He didn't have, he doesn't really have combat shields or +1 of any sort of kind. Doesn't have stim, so his Marines are pretty naked. So are Polt at the same time, but he's finally getting stim in the production tab. The income has been in favor of Polt, though, because he's been able to really get his SCV count. The big thing is that Polt is going for a 3rd command center, which I actually like this play here from Polt.
Yeah, I mean, where is his advantage right now? It is in the siege tank count, and of course in
the SCV count.
The production. production.
Oh, yeah, and production, too.
Production. He knows his opponent is behind in production. Now, obviously, with the Banshee out, with the Viking out, he does have air control. Are his siege tanks going to be as effective when he attacks? Probably not. So how can I use my siege tanks to be super efficient for myself? Well, let's take another base. Go ahead and use them defensively. They're in great position. Now I cannot be killed. That's a really nice way to actually use his advantage, identifying what he has ahead of his opponent, and then proceeding thereon.
QXE scouts the third command center. Now he is moving really far out, and this drop has been decently effective at pushing out the SCVs. But wow, picking off another Banshee, and Polt, if you want to keep going Banshees, you gotta treat him a little better. As I mean, those Banshees have been they haven't really been taken care of. In fact, Polt has no more Banshees left, and he's not producing them anymore. Another drop attempt here at the main, as Polt is losing more and more SCVs, and this is exactly what QXE needs to do to even out the economy here.
Income tab showing 44 to 44, so a perfect even out there. Let's check these stim upgrades and combat shields. So it looks like combat shields is way ahead for QXE. Stim, of course, way ahead for Polt. So both of them are in pretty equal upgrades. The one difference is, of course, that command center. It is already done, finished, morphed into an orbital command center. Polt has the units the siege tank count advantage, 5 to 3, and he has the ability to go out in the middle of the map and claim his territory. So I would say Polt positionally has the advantage, and with that, he gains the game advantage.
Yeah, I mean, TVT is so crucial to just have positioning correctly. Now, a big thing about positioning is whether or not Polt will be able to hold out this oncoming push with Marine Tank and Vikings. And keep in mind that one Raven for QXE is almost at a significant energy need to drop PD and a turret. And Polt scans, trying to see if he can identify his army immediately. Is he going to get into position here? The stim from Polt. Now, stim did not finish from QXE whatsoever. But he has way too many units, and Polt has to evacuate immediately.
What happened to the stim with QXE?
Wait, what?
Oh, he lifted. Oh, no, he lifted his barracks before the stim finished.
Oh, my God, are you serious? Oh, wow, I thought he had stim. It was in production tab, too.
Yeah. Oh, what a huge, costly blunder right there. And that's going to put him so far behind. He needs to put another barracks on those tech labs immediately and start stim. Because with that, Polt will be able to crush down on this army. I mean, already Polt will be able to crush down on this army. Losing that many tanks is a travesty right there. Oh my God.
Oh, but look at this, Andre. He's scanning and he sees the units are out of position. And Polt gonna try to run by straight to the natural. He scans and he sees almost nothing. QXE trying to get his siege tanks in position. Puts up a siege mode. But look at this. Polt gonna immediately elevate her up, realizing what QXE's reaction is. And he's gonna get out of place. Now, keep in mind, QXE doesn't have stim. Imagine how good of a flank he would have been able to get if he was able to protect that. But no, he's gonna lose a lot of units. And Polt still has high ground advantage. Although the sheer mass for QXE may not even matter here, as he does manage to clean up a lot. Still, though, Polt is in a pretty good position to at least snipe some of this production here, at least keeping his medevacs alive. And QXE is able to deal with it very nicely, but still, that was a really, really scary moment for our Purple Terran.
Absolutely. And off of that, somehow or another, QXE comes out ahead, and he still has no stim. The world is crazy. The world is crazy.
And he's up in SCVs. Well, I mean, the whole idea is that drop's been really effective at back of the main at Polt. It's not there anymore. As you see, the Viking does clean up. And Polt trying to see if he can stim, take out more of the production from QXE, as QXE's macro has been extremely on point this game. You can see it's been very, very sharp. As a result, you see QXE able to mass up a pretty sizable force. He still doesn't have stim in production either.
My God, but he's so far ahead. Let's check the units tab. From that last engagement, he's gone up in siege tanks like crazy, 8 siege tanks to 2. And when you're playing on Shakur's Plateau, it is one of the more positional maps because there's only one entry or one main entry. It's so hard to actually go up and around the bottom and the top. So it's one main entry. If you can situate that area, you don't even care about your marine count. You just place them there. Siege tanks are wonderful. You put them on high ground. You have the towers to actually defend against everything, and you're good to go. So I love where QXE is. All of a sudden, things have turned around, and he still doesn't have stim.
A couple things. A couple things, though, is that Polt also has double engineering bay compared to the one of QXC.
Okay.
And QXC is starting his 4th base, so he does have that advantage in terms of getting a 3rd base. But he's kind of out of position. Keep in mind, Stim allows good positioning for the Marines as well, both offensively and defensively if you feel like you need to pull back. As you can see, Polt controlling the watchtower, very key, and QXC controlling the north. And we see that Polt losing a lot of his siege tanks, but in the end, he's got Marines that are way more mobile. And QXC just relegated to a lot of his siege tanks in the middle of the map with no amount of Marine support.
Oh my god, and their Stim finally goes up yet again. Marines are going to come around here. This is the power of Polt at this point. And these 2 siege tanks plus Marines will be picked off. This one command center has no defenses. It forces all these siege tanks to back up, and now the Marines will just reign supreme. They can attack anywhere they want. There's one siege tank on the high ground that'll probably force Polt back from here. But I love it. I mean, Polt normally doesn't have this advantage here in this position, but still, he's utilizing his advantage and he's making the most of it. There it is.
Also, there's 2-2 on there's 2-2 on Polt, and he's able to scan and take out what's remaining of the center. And Polt's macro has finally caught up to QXC. He's been able to whittle down the numbers, and the upgrade advantage when you have this many Marines is so significant. And QXC has to be extremely cautious, but he's not in position to defend the natural. In fact, he thinks it's coming at the 3rd.
No.
Uh-oh, Andre, we see a huge amount of Marine Stim here. And can QXC hold the natural? I don't think so whatsoever. As you see, the SCVs are coming in from behind at the 3rd. Oh my goodness, way too much damage being done by Polt. QXC, can he hold here?
And he has to just think, what if I let my Stim finish? This game would be so different. Now the Marines are focusing down on the command center. GG gets called out by QXC. What a disappointing loss, but Polt will take it after being behind. Wow, what a great first game in this series. My God.
Yeah, I'm trying to fathom like what could have happened. I feel like QXC would be able to take a huge advantage, would have been really good in his defense, and just overall was, I mean Polt was really good too. I loved his scans and his reactions to them, and I mean it was very textbook. I scanned to force QXC to be paranoid and siege up and immediately take another position to take advantage of that, and Polt was able to play a very, very good unit movement game, and as a result was able to come back despite being in a deficit for the majority of the game.
I do want to be very critical on QXC for that opening, though, because I think he should have read that there were some sort of cloak Banshee plays coming out. The main reasons, as I said before, you see multiple Banshees. Your opponent knows that you have a Viking, and he's still going out with the Banshee. Well, cloak is inevitable at that point. The Raven, it was questionable. I actually think you shouldn't make a Raven in that case. And the main reason for that is you have excess minerals, not a lot of gas. You started with only 1 gas, and that brought you into that mid-game. Save all that gas for siege tanks and siege mode. Get that out super quick.
Or Stim.
Or Stim. And no, situate yourself a lot more efficiently, because you know you have the command center advantage. Your opponent only has a couple ways to do this. They have to harass you to get back into the game, or they have to get a significant amount of damage done with a 1 base all in. Of course, just defend both of them by getting turrets and siege mode. You're good to go. You don't have to worry about anything. You have the economic advantage.
And so, unfortunately, QXC falls just a little bit short of taking game number 1 off of Polt. We'll find out if he's able to come back into this series right after commercial break. Thank you so much to the sponsor of that game, iBuyPower, for providing the PCs that power the NASL broadcast. Don't go anywhere. Game number 2 between Polt and QXC coming up right after this.